In this lesson, you will learn how to add, organize, and manage effects. Let the fun begin. First, create a new composition. Give your composition a name. Choose a preset to get started. I'll choose this HD 1920 1080 24 frames per second. 24 frames per second is great. 10 seconds in duration. Background color, I'm going to do something kind of light here. Click OK. I'm going to add a background layer, as this is currently just the composition background color. So I'm going to go into my footage folder. I'll select a paper texture that I want to add. I'll drag it on the composition, hold the Shift key so it just snaps in the center. When I zoom out, you can see that the paper texture is a lot bigger than the comp window. A little tip, if you just right-click, go to Transform, I know the paper is the same aspect ratio, so it's not going to distort it if I fit it to comp. If you do have a video or something that might not be the same aspect ratio, you might want to choose one of these. Otherwise, I'm going to choose Fit to Comp. Now you can see that paper texture fits perfectly on the comp. I'm also going to drag out a logo. Again, I'll hold the Shift key so it snaps right in the center. The logo is much bigger. So I'll tap S to bring up the Scale Transform property. Then I'll just scale it down to the center. I'll go to the Align panel and just make sure it's aligned in the center. If you go to the top menu, click on Help. I highly encourage you to go to either the Effect Reference or Animation Presets. This is an Adobe page that is filled with some really great information. You can also see a list of all the effects available. Like most things in After Effects, there are several different ways that you can add effects and presets. One of the most common ways, and the way that I typically do it, is using the Effects and Presets panel. If you don't see the Effects and Presets panel, or maybe you close it and you're not sure where it is, just go to the Window menu and check Effects and Presets. You can also add effects. If you go to the top menu, click on Effect, there you will see the exact same list that you see in the Effects and Presets. And when it's all grayed out, all you have to do is just click on Footage in the Comp window or down in the Layers panel, and then you will see all of the effects. You can also right-click on footage down in the Layers panel, click Effect, there's the exact same list, or in the Comp window if you right-click, Effect. One thing that I typically do before I add effects and presets is I drag the CTI, or the current time indicator, to the beginning of the timeline. Some effects and presets have built-in animations, so wherever your CTI is located, that's going to be where the initial animation is. Here is my exact workflow for adding effects and presets. First, I drag the CTI to the beginning of the timeline. Then I select the layer that I want to add an effect onto. I then go to the Effects and Presets panel. You can browse through the categories if you're not sure what you're looking for. Otherwise, I just click in the search field and just start typing out the letters of what I'm looking for. And I'll start with one of my favorite effects, Roughen Edges. When you have a layer selected, you can just double click on an effect. It will apply it to that layer. You can press Command Z or Control Z to undo. You can also click and drag right onto a layer. So if you want to make sure you get it on the right layer, you can drag it from the effects and presets right onto the layer, or I typically just drag it right onto the composition window. I'm looking for that little bounding box letting me know that I'm about to drag it onto this layer, and I'll just let go to add the effect. After you add an effect, you customize and control the effect in the Effect Controls panel. If you ever close this panel or lose it, you're not sure where it is, and you go to the Window menu and you don't see it, keep going all the way down to the bottom. There you will see Effect Controls. Just click that, and it's usually nested right next to the Project panel. So every time you add an effect on the layer, it's just going to stack up in this panel. And there's little arrows that you can tidy up the effects. When you want to see a before and after of an effect, you click this little effects that toggles off the visibility of the effect, click it again, and now you'll see the effect. You can also customize the effect down in the Layers panel. So if you twirl open a layer, after you add an effect, you will see the effects group. Twirl that open, and there you will see the effect. All the properties that you see in the effect controls will also be down in the Layers panel. And you'll also see that same effects if you want to toggle on or off the effect. When you have a layer selected, you will see the effects in the effect controls. But if you click on another layer and that layer doesn't have any effects on it, you will not see anything in the effect controls panel. It's based on the layer that you have selected. Now, if you want to lock in the effects so they're always visible for this layer, for example, there's a little lock icon next to the effect controls. When you click that, now if you were to click on another layer, those effects are going to be visible. Click on the lock again to unlock to remove effects. So I'll select this bottom layer. If I want to remove this curves effect, I can select the effect and just tap the delete key. I'll press Command or Control Z to undo that. I can also go down to the Layers panel, just select the effect or just select the effects group, tap the delete key. I can also go to the top menu, click on Effect, Remove All, or if you just right-click right in the effect controls, choose Remove All, that's going to remove the effects. I cannot stress this enough, but one of the best and the most fun ways to learn After Effects is to simply jump right in and play. Explore all the effects, add multiple effects, change all the settings, click on the drop-down menu, see what that does. See what happens when you drag a slider all the way to the right. See what happens when you drag it all the way in the other direction. If you go too far and you want to get back to where you started, all you have to do is click on the reset button and you're back to the default setting. And remember, anytime you see a stopwatch in After Effects, that means that you can animate that property. When you add keyframes in the effect controls, it is automatically adding them in the Layers panel. The Layers panel and the effect controls are working together, so any changes you make in the effect controls will automatically update in the Layers panel and vice versa. If you don't see the keyframes, remember the keyboard shortcut U. U will reveal all keyframes. Drag the CTI to the end. Make changes to the property. Just have fun. Drag them, see what happens. Drag the CTI back, tap the spacebar. You just created yourself a little line boil animation. To remove the keyframes, just click on a stopwatch. To remove all of them, just click and drag down. A common thing is to duplicate effects so you can have multiple instances of the same effect. You can right-click and choose Duplicate, or use the must-know keyboard shortcut Command or Control D if you want to duplicate an effect. Command D, Command D, Command D. And I'm going to show you a little trick or a handy shortcut. If you want to find this Roughen Edges 3, rather than having to twirl open the layer and dig through the layers, a shortcut, if you just double-click on an effect in the effect controls, it will automatically show it down in the Layers panel. And vice versa, I told you they work together. If you double-click on Roughen Edges 2, it's going to highlight it in the effect controls. I'm going to press the Command key and click on one of the arrows. That's going to collapse all the effects. If you want to delete effects, I'll Shift-click, tap the delete key. Just be aware that as you start adding additional effects and building your effect recipe in the effect controls panel, the order of the effects do matter. So if you're not getting the results you would expect when you add an effect, just try moving an effect up or down on the effect stack. That will also update it in the Layers panel. And a great keyboard shortcut to know: select the effect, press Command or Control and the right bracket key. Just tap the right bracket. That will move up the stack. Command or Control left bracket will move down. It works the same for layers. Select a layer, Command left to move down, Command right bracket to move up. You now know how to add individual effects to layers. In the next lesson, you're going to learn about animation presets, which makes creating cool effects and animations a whole lot easier.